All right, you guys, this should be a good time. This is a video from WrestleMania. It's moments that were not supposed to happen at WWE WrestleMania. Good timing on this. I figured it'd be a fun time to do some reaction and breakdown to WrestleMania specific style content, just because we're all in the throes of getting amped up for what I think looks to be a pretty good WrestleMania this year. Well, I'll try and make time to do some live streams about it between now and then, so we can all talk about what we're looking forward to, what we think they're doing well, not so well, whatever. But come on, let's check this out.
WrestleMania moments that were never supposed to
I'm always
happen.
curious to see
Number 10, Shane McMahon.
how many of these I will know weren't supposed to happen. You guys are probably on top of most of them.
Here's his squad.
Oh yeah,
WrestleMania 39.
tearing a squad
WrestleMania
was
39
not in the script.
completely
I
unexpected
feel confident
return
about
as
that.
the prodigal son Shane McMahon returned to WWE to challenge The Miz. McMahon received a hero's welcome from the audience.
They did an excellent job of covering up after that. The Miz and Snoop did a real good job.
In a heap on the mat. It turned out that during Elite
There it is.
10,
Yeah.
the former European champion had tore his quad. An injury of this magnitude happening during a live WrestleMania broadcast put WWE in a very difficult position.
Hey, there's a guy that knows something about tearing quads. It does seem to be like a McMahon family thing, isn't it? What is it? They just got weak quads in the bloodlines?
Thanks to quick communication,
Well, actually, Triple H isn't blood.
Snoop Dogg quickly punched The Miz and follow it up with a people's elbow. WWE and their talent must be prepared for anything, and the aftermath of McMahon's injury couldn't have been handled any better.
Yeah.
Number 9.
I always had a lot of appreciation for that. They did a hell of a job covering that up. That was well done.
Jobs WrestleMania 8. During the early 90s, WWE had a strict no-blood policy, and this applied to all wrestlers across the board. However, when it came to WrestleMania 8, two wrestlers decided a little bloodshed would enhance their respective matches. First, during
Sometimes it does.
With Roddy Piper, Hart bladed, and he did such a convincing job with making it look like he was busted open in a legitimate manner that he avoided a fine and any punishment.
Wow, he did do that quick. That was well done. That was always one of the challenges. Well, obviously, if you were gonna blade, is figuring out the perfect time in the match to do it. Because with me, I told you guys before, I would keep my blade, my little razor blade shaving, my little cut of a razor blade, in my wrist tape. So you're not only looking for the best place to blade, but the best place to prepare for the blading as well. He set that up perfect.
The same couldn't be said for Ric Flair, as the prone blader decided to blade during his WWE title showdown versus the Macho Man. And it was so obvious what Flair had done that Vince McMahon fined both men a reported figure of $500,000. According to the late Lonnie Poffo, during an interview with Inside the Ropes, Flair obtained genuine heat from McMahon, yet Poffo admits the crowd loved the incorporation of blood into the title matchup. Rick Quartz.
That's the thing. I mean, that's what blood is for, is to help tell a story. When guys, you got to do what you got to do, whatever you think will get you over in a show. But when guys do it just for the sake of adding some color, I don't know. When it's out there for a reason.
Some legitimate heat from Vince McMahon for blading
it can be huge.
And was fined. Things had changed since I did that blade job for Andre the Giant. The company didn't want the boys blading at that point, but Rick knew how fans reacted to seeing blood staining his blonde hair.
Nobody knew that better than Flair, how fans would react to a little bit of color.
Spot gets cut short WrestleMania 33. For the most part, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 33
this one I don't remember.
Battle Royal. However, the early elimination of the Big Show did come as a huge surprise, as Big Show was one of the biggest names in the match. It was reported at the time that Big Show was unhappy backstage, as he was supposed to have an extended spot in the match with Braun Strowman, and the spot was cut short by numerous wrestlers failing to let the moment breathe. Former WWE.
Oh, okay, all right, I see. So, wow. So that all happened on the fly?
WWE star Sean Waltman, aka
damn,
would discuss the blunder on his radio show, and this is what Waltman had to say.
Before the thing was even over, Big Show had a bunch of guys that were in the Battle Royal back in the back, and he was going off.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was over the stuff with him and Strowman. Because they had a moment there,
And they all ruined the moment.
From him too quick.
Number 7.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would obviously Big Show and Strowman, two monsters, that would be a great build. Ooh. Yeah, you got to have. I I didn't take notice of the roster who was in there when they just showed the clip, but I'm thinking probably a lot of guys who may not get another WrestleMania moment, maybe hadn't had one before, and
Dominic Mysterio
think you
throws
get too
water at
excited
his
and
sister, WrestleMania
don't
39.
pay attention to what's around you.
WrestleMania 39
Oh,
Bret
yeah.
and Dominic Mysterio
I love this.
finally collide in a 1v1
I
match.
love this.
The match lived up to expectations
'Cause the
and was a
water
perfect
wasn't
match
supposed to
bring an
happen, right?
acclaimed rivalry to a close. Now, an interesting fact about the WrestleMania 39 matchup is that Dominic went off script and threw the water at his sister.
Hey, look at her.
His unplanned spot was a great move as it took the intensity of the match to the next level until he dom himself.
Wait a second. I have to interject here. I have two sisters. I don't know how many of you guys have sisters, but here's the thing. You always throw the water in her face at that point. Period. That's your sister.
On the improvised spot during an appearance
I would be
on
so
the wrestling
disappointed
show.
in him if he didn't.
I didn't know I was gonna throw a drink at my sister. I mean, I kind of walked down and I saw her holding a cup, and I was like, "This dumbass is holding a cup." So I grabbed it and I was gonna drink it. I saw there was a little bit of water. And I said, just a little bit.
This
So I
dumbass is
figured I'd
holding a
throw it on
cup.
her. But yeah, that was a blast. Looking back at it now, I threw it with some force.
With some
I
gusto.
didn't expect that at all. So I think that's it's a lot of fun, man. Hopefully I get to do some more stuff where I get to torture him because it's a blast, you know.
Oh, well said, too, Doc. I've really grown to like that kid a lot. The dumbass is holding a cup.
Number 6, Raven almost cuts
That's
the power
perfect.
WrestleMania 17.
I like it.
From top to bottom, everything on the WrestleMania
That
17
coast to
card
coast,
came
man.
together to produce a beloved and celebrated pay-per-view
That's a
event.
tough
One of
spot.
the more underrated matches on the show saw Kane, Big Show, and Raven face off in a chaotic yet thrilling hardcore match for the hardcore title. One of the infamous
Trying to
spots
remember
of the
this
match
one.
saw Raven cart into a mesh fence wall backstage, and this wall covered the wires that powered the entire building.
Oh,
Raven
shit.
was legitimately just a few inches away from cutting the power to the entire arena. And speaking of
Oh, I didn't know about this one.
Recollection of the incident,
Oh, that would have
but I
sucked.
ruined the greatest spot in the history of WrestleMania. We were supposed to be driving and the Big Show choking while I was driving, and I was supposed to drive all around the building with Kane driving behind us in hot pursuit. What happened was that there was a fence that looked like a wall fence, so I thought if I drove into it and bounced off, it would look cool because I was getting choked by a 400-pound guy.
shit.
Then I hit the fence, didn't get back anything, and I just fell off the curb. But the best part is that I came within millimeters of turning off the power in the entire building.
Could you imagine? And he's right. I like how he takes full ownership. That would have been a great spot, them chasing each other around.
Number 5,
That would have been
WrestleMania 24's
fantastic.
Pyro accident. WrestleMania always has awe-inspiring pyro. Yet in 2008,
Damn, turn off the
at
lights.
WrestleMania 24,
And then through a chain of events, it snaps power to the whole city or something.
pyro used for the pay-per-view went horrifically wrong. When The Undertaker had defeated Edge to become world champion during the main event, an extravagant pyro display would ensue, yet unfortunately these fireworks malfunctioned as the fireworks landed into a group of fans.
I do
It's
remember
believed that around 40
seeing
fans were
that
injured and
those
some of these
video
fans
clips
suffered
now that it
burns.
comes up.
3 fans left WrestleMania in an ambulance as a result of their injuries, and the backlash and media attention was so severe that WWE were forced to issue a statement. We're investigating
Yikes.
the incident and doing everything we can to find out
Statement
why
might
it
be a good
happened and
idea.
to make sure it never happens again. While we apologize to anyone who was injured and or alarmed by this occurrence, we take solace in the fact that the reported injuries were minor. Number 4.
Wow. You know what they should have done? WWE should have been, if you're at WrestleMania, obviously you can assume you're a big wrestling fan. Instead of giving them a cash payout, say, listen, just come on in and we'll have Undertaker sign your burn scars. No? Not a good solution?
Papa Shango's timing blunder, WrestleMania 8.
Look, I got
The main
this from
event of
Undertaker.
WrestleMania 8 didn't exactly light the world on fire. The main event was a standard
Ha,
singles match
fire.
between Hulk Hogan and Sid, and it ended in a DQ victory for Hogan. The
Oh,
match
yeah,
was
that's
incredibly
kinda
lackluster,
shitty.
especially when it comes to WrestleMania main events. The planned finish of the match was supposed to see Papa Shango break up a pin attempt from Hogan, yet Shango missed his cue, meaning that Sid had to kick out of a trademark Hogan leg drop. Charles Wright, who portrayed the spooky persona, discussed what went wrong during an interview with Schedule for 2
crap.
Falls.
The problem is that they knew that I was green, so they're like, don't go until we tell you to go. And so
Oh,
they were
shit.
probably, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to say the person, but for whatever reason, I got the queue late.
He
And went so.
That's-
I didn't know. I'm sitting at the curtain, literally like
We're a track star.
A track star, ready to run. And it was a long ways, and I was probably 320 pounds. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna go. So they said, go, 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 go. Bam, I went. So once I got there, I was a little, oh shit, what's going on? Because I wasn't watching the monitors. I was kind of that. So
oh
I
no!
never heard anything about it. Years, and I mean years later.
Wow, this
I'm
is
now
really
not
interesting.
listening. I'm doing autograph signings and stuff, and people are, hello, my wife. People are like, hey, what happened here? I'm like, what do you mean what happened? Well,
We missed the cue.
I'm like, no, I didn't.
He didn't even know what they were talking about.
Number 3. a
That's
botched-
pretty cool. This is one of the reasons I love watching these. I had no idea about all that, and that sounds perfectly legit. I'm sure that I'd bet money that's really what happened. Is they just missed giving him the cue at the right time. As he said, he took ownership of being green, and if they know he's green, as he said, they're going to have somebody telling him when to go, not relying on him to time it.
Ending WrestleMania 35.
Wow, I didn't
The
know
women
that.
of WWE took center stage at WrestleMania 35 as Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair
was
main
good.
evented the show. While seeing Lynch become dual champion in WWE
Excuse
was
me.
incredible, the botch finish did ultimately overshadow the epic moment. The match finish saw
trying to
Rousey
remember
attempt
this.
to hit a Piper's pit on Lynch, yet this attempt was countered into a crucifix pin, and this managed to pin Rousey to the mat. The problem here was that this wasn't the planned finish, and
Oh.
Rousey's shoulders were clearly up. It's unclear what was supposed to be the finish of the match, as there are conflicting reports. But some reports at the time stated that Lynch was supposed to tap out Flair to disarm her, while some reports note that Lynch was supposed to make Rousey submit. Number 2. Tyson
Oh, I
goes
didn't know about that. So was that what are we saying here? Is that a screw job type finish? Somebody didn't want to do what they were supposed to do, or what's going on there? Huh? Did not know that.
WrestleMania 14. One of the most iconic moments of WrestleMania 14 saw boxer Mike Tyson knock out Shawn Michaels. This was a scripted spot, yet the spot which saw Tyson place a Stone Cold t-shirt over HBK's face caused a ton of controversy. The spot in question was in the
Why?
initial WrestleMania rundown, yet HBK believed the spot was disrespectful, so he insisted it was removed. But Tyson ultimately decided to do the spot anyway, which naturally made HBK, who was notoriously problematic at the time, absolutely livid.
What the-
former WWE
That's not
champion was so
disrespectful.
angry that he attempted to confront Tyson at the post-show press
Oh,
conference.
good. Do
but he
that.
would be physically stopped by Shane McMahon. And number 1, Stone
Wait a
Cold-
second. Wait a second here. Holy crap. First, it had to be physically stopped. Shawn Michaels is a phenomenal wrestler and a great entertainer. He's not a real life fighter. What was he going to do to Tyson? Tyson would have, before the security could get there, Tyson would have knocked him into another dimension. Going to go confront Tyson about it. And, see, well, it's getting me all worked up now. This is my opinion, and I stick by it no matter what. That's not fucking disrespectful. Having the opponent's shirt placed over your face, that's as old school wrestling as it gets. It's supposed to appear disrespectful. That's the angle. There's no real disrespect in it. It's an angle you're working. Boy, he really was a dick years ago, wasn't he? It's disrespectful. Shut up. Do the spot and shut up.
blade job at
Jeez.
WrestleMania 13. The word masterpiece is thrown around a lot when it comes to pro wrestling. Yet the
What
match
about that
between
blade
Stone
job? I
Cold
remember
Steve
that.
Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13
He
was
was
an outstanding
spewing.
showcase of everything that is great about pro wrestling. The
Wow,
match featured
those
a
two
double
guys?
turn, and it was responsible
surprising.
for creating one of the most influential and popular baby faces of all time in Stone Cold. The most well-known element of the match is Austin's bloodshed, as Austin being
Yeah.
covered in blood while screaming in pain is one of the main reasons the match connected with so many fans.
Wow, that
Believe it or
was
not, blood was
amazing.
implemented for the match, as WWE had a strict no blood policy.
Oh,
at
even
the
then?
time. It was Hart's idea to deviate away from WWE's rulebook, and Hart offered a fascinating account on why he made the call during an appearance on Edge and Christian's
Wow,
podcast.
cool.
He said, "You don't want to take any chances at WrestleMania. Trust me. Let me do it." He trusted me. I remember one of the first things I learned in the business was to never let anyone do that to you, and Steve totally trusted me. I said, "Trust me, because I'll do it right." There could have been a lot of heat. I could have been in just as much trouble as Steve at that time. They had a no blood policy for a while. and
Wow.
the big companies and everybody were on Vince's ass. So I was like, just let's pretend it was an accident. What are they gonna do? One thing's for sure, it made for an epic moment. But there you have
It's
it, folks.
wow.
WrestleMania moments that were never
that-
supposed to happen.
I love this stuff. That's why I enjoy watching these, because again, I know a lot of you guys are much more well versed in the history and the lore. and probably maybe none of that was news to you, but I enjoy learning about that. Wow. Well, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, that being a 5-star match, is that part's not a surprise. But yes, like everybody else, I remember the crimson harshness of that match. It stays ingrained in your mind. And that whole thing with Shawn, that's disrespectful. Jeez.